what we'll do is we'll follow, you just follow me. Okay, follow me. Come on, follow me now. You keep your eye on me.
Dat is helemaal de muur, niet?
Let's get this moving.
On creepy then. Okay.
Get ready to turn. Right, now normally it is an active scene for Tuesday, but now of course every day you get the young adults coming down here on their 13th birthday to make their vows to the Lord God. And here we have one of the young ones who's come along, and they allow them to carry the Torah and so on, and they put it away for the next bar mitzvah ceremony. And the whole family come, and that's the young lad who is making his vows and promises. Now prior to this, the young people would wear a tunic uniform to go to school down to their knees, but having taken the bar mitzvah, they're allowed to wear a dress right down to their ankles, just like we wore short trousers till we were a teenager. There was a young man who was involved in his vows. Yeah. We'll have a look at another, shall we? Here you have groups of young adults, teenage adults, 13th birthday, and they're coming here to make their vows as young adults to their religion and to the Lord. And they group together afterwards to be reminded of their responsibilities to the law, their obedience to God, and they come here to make those vows. The women folk, of course, are not allowed to be on this side in the company of the male folk, so they look on from their section on the other side.
In the scriptures, the Lord Jesus said when Jerusalem was going to be destroyed, that there won't be one stone left upon another.
Shall not be thrown down.
That shall not be thrown down. And yet I see things like the Wailing Wall. I don't understand.
Oh, right. Well, most of the Wailing Wall appeared and was built by Solomon the Great long after the destruction of the city in AD 70 by Titus. But Jesus was referring basically to the temple. Now let me explain this. I'll be very brief. What happened was this, that the zealots, the Jewish, that held out for 2 years. The scene in the city was absolutely horrific. Remember, there were 1.25 million people in this place, and they were not allowed to go out. Those that tried to escape were crucified. So many were crucified, they ran out of timber. And in the end, the people were getting full of disease, malnutrition and dying. They threw their bodies over the wall of the city, and the Roman soldiers actually used the bodies to get into the city. So you can remember how putrid the whole scene was. It was terrific. That's why Jesus wept over the city, because he knew this would happen and predicted it. And when we do the Mount of Olives, I'll show you where Jesus predicted the destruction of the city. Right. Now, he was referring basically to the temple, because they were asking him questions about the temple being destroyed, because the disciples could not envisage the temple being destroyed. But Jesus said, not one stone here will be left standing on another that shall not be thrown down. Now, this is what happened. Titus said to them, get in, boys, but do not destroy the temple. The treasures are in the temple. The gold is in the temple. The precious things are in the temple. But when the soldiers got in, there was nothing. And they were furious, they were angry. And they said, we know what's happened. They've hid them in the temple walls. So they started to take the walls down, stone by stone, to find the treasures. But the treasures had been left underground, because the Jews built an underground system to hide the treasures of the temple. They were later found by the temple. I'm trying to remember all the details. They were later found by the Templar people, the Knights Templars they were called, because they brought the royals here to visit the old city. But there was nothing here. And what the Knights Templars did, they brought the royals here who paid. It was during the pilgrimage period. They felt if they could do a pilgrimage to Canterbury or to St. David's, they get to heaven with greater marks, greater points. So to come to Jerusalem was the highest marking you could get. So they would pay a fortune to come to Jerusalem. So what they did, the Knights Templars brought tents, all the provisions, and set them up on the temple site. Now, the Knights Templars knew that the treasure had never been discovered. So they mapped it all out carefully. And when they came one year, they would do that. Next year they'd be there. Next year they'd be there. And they were testing the ground all the time. And eventually they found the underground area where the treasure was hidden. And we believe what they did was they never told anybody what they'd found. But each time they came back to Europe, they brought some of the treasure with them. And because it was gold, they could melt it. And the Knights Templars became the richest band of people in the whole world. And because they had so much riches, they founded our present banking system. That's where the banking system comes from. It comes from the Knights Templars because they found the treasures. Does that explain it? It's a wonderful story.
I'm glad you asked the question.
Absolutely, I am, yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Just had a lot of slaves on that one day.
Contains the Torah, first 5 books in the Bible.
Some bombs?
Yeah.
day. I think Peter's excelled himself once again. So we're going to be off now to go back to the hotel, get a bit of a shower in, some food, and no doubt maybe some more